Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of the Value Consultant, the only Dutch channel that talks about uranium. But today, what's going on? An interview, and it's in English. But fortunately for me, I have the best guest in the world. He is the master of charts and the king of technical analysis. It's Casper Rasmussen, aka Uselink. Casper, welcome, my friend.
Yeah, thank you very much. And what a nice intro to have here on this Saturday morning. So it can only be a good weekend. So that is, yeah, thank you very much. And I'm happy to talk to your viewers. It's going to be a good session.
Pleasure is all mine. And I'm a member of your Substack. Ton of value there, and not only from you actually, but also from the other guys that are there. So really nice to community to be in, and and I made money. That's the most important thing, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of the tips you gave. So, thank you. I have, of course, we have a disclaimer. We are just two guys talking about stocks. So if you want to buy those stocks, by all means do. But it's your money, it's your responsibility. Do your own research and do your own due diligence, please, and read the disclaimer, the full disclaimer in the description of this video. All right, Casper, I want to kick off with your origin story. So, who is Casper Rasmussen, aka Uselink? Why is he a charting guy and not a guy who reads all the news releases from the drill results or calls CEOs about warrants structures or share diluting? Was there a young Danish 10-year-old Casperito who said to himself, "Well, one day I want to be the biggest chartist in the world," or what's the story there? I'm curious. Please fill it in.
Yeah, well, actually, typically very boring Danish guy, actually, growing up doing a ton of sports and also at a really high level in handball. So really typical growing up, in Denmark, going to school, always been really good at mathematics. More so, seeing trends and actually start to notice patterns has been a huge, something that I've been really good at when I was young. And then, further on, started to do engineering and worked as an engineer, for the past 15 years or so. And but 6 years maybe. Yeah, time goes fast. I started to do investing, just randomly buying Danish stocks and just see what happened. And as always, was curious. And then one day I stumbled upon, the market sniper. This guy, he's really famous as well in that area. And I saw a video, and I'm like, straight away I knew that there was something to this kind of thing that he was doing, drawing random stuff on a chart, and it just made, I was very curious. So I started to consume a whole lot of content from him, but also other guys, Burak, for instance, as well. Later on X, when I started to be on that platform, and yeah, basically ever since, that's except from family, and work, that's all I basically think about. It's just a pure passion of mine to look at charts and not look at other people's opinion, but just to look at the chart and try to see what the data shows you, and not some guy talking on the television, this is a great buy because of this and that. In my view, that's only his opinion. But here you get the opinions of many people, which is incorporated into the chart. So if you can try to notice those patterns, and of course I have looked at many charts for the past 5 years. So you start to get this pattern recognition very quickly when you look at a chart. Straight away there's something going on here. And yeah, so that's basically what I do. And then like a year ago, maybe 1.5, I started to do the Substack, which you're also a part of, and has been growing ever since. And as you mentioned, great community. We have the chat function where we talk every day back and forth, having fun as well. Not only charts, but we have fun also there. So it's so yeah, it has been a complete turnaround when it comes to Also, my personality has changed a lot after being uh, looking at data and not I don't care about what other people think. You just look at the
Mm,
data, and that's the more often that's the truth, you can say. So
yeah.
so yeah, overall it's very boring. Not a whole lot happening, but yeah, by far charting is again just data points, and you try to connect the dots, and hopefully most of the time you get the dots combined correctly, and well, you have an idea about what's going to happen. So that's what
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. Are you a winners type? But you played handball. It's a, I don't know how to describe it, a furious sport. It's very
Yeah,
tough.
yeah, it
And
is.
and
Yeah,
um, and the other thing that stuck in my head is that you said, I don't care what other people say
mm,
anymore. I just, yeah, do what I do and follow my own path. And I think that's also one thing that Andy says from Finding Value. Yeah, the older you get, the more you think, hey, those guys weren't right.
yeah,
At least not all the time. So my opinion was good, and I'm following my own path. And I think that relates to your story, but also to mine. And maybe it relates to all the guys who are on YouTube because they are telling their own story.
yeah. Yeah, so as I say, right or wrong, it doesn't matter. As long as you
Yeah,
have your case and you have a theory, if it doesn't work out, fair enough, you will learn.
yeah,
But again, if you take someone else's opinion, you can't learn from that because you don't know the thought process.
yeah,
So at least if you do something yourself, you have an idea.
yeah.
It fails. All right, what could I correct? Because again, then you can tweak your theories or your yeah. So
Did you make a plan for your stop stack or for your YouTube or your investing plan? Do you have you written it out, or is it just go with the flow and see every day and that's it?
no, I have well, as I say often, I just follow the charts basically.
Yeah.
That is my take. They will tell me what to do, and
Yeah.
hopefully I'm correct, right? So I don't have a written plan or anything.
Okay.
If I see a sector or a stock that looks really good, I have a plan when to get in,
Yeah.
when to get out if I'm wrong, and my
Yeah.
potential targets. And as long as that thesis on the chart, is looking the way I hope it will be, then I'm in until
Yeah.
something changes, and then I'm
Yeah.
I'm, I'm out. So
Yeah. So
so no.
there are no rules for allocation. So 25% silver, 99%. That's my portfolio. No, not really.
Yeah,
Or
but
physical, or that's just see what works, what the charts tell you, and stick to it.
yeah, I try to be in the stocks and sectors that looks the best. Of
Yeah,
course, try to,
yeah,
but I'm as you know, I'm heavily invested into uranium. I'm heavily invested into gold and silver, physical as well. I have physical because, again, as you say, I think it's a good strategy or safety to have. Because stocks, especially commodities, they are all of a sudden they can do things you out of the blue, right? So they are just very intense. So no, I try to allocate. I wouldn't say evenly. I don't have a plan. I want to be 60% uranium and
yeah,
40% is sometimes it's 70% uranium and then 30% gold and silver, and then it changes, depending on what I see. So I don't have a like a
yeah. Before you invest in stocks, even through charting, you have to know something about the macro stuff. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
because when you're in the wrong sector, uh, you're never going to win.
yeah.
Are there any charts, like three or four bread and butter charts that you watched regularly and made you decide to go into commodities or energy? Are there
Yeah,
any examples?
yeah, there are, the like the oil chart, for instance, or the
You
uranium.
can share your screen
I can
if you want
share.
to. Yeah.
Okay, then I want to do remove this one here. We could do uranium first because that is
Well,
your
there's a danger in that we are gonna talk an hour about uranium, but hey,
yeah. So again, what was really interesting here for the uranium spot price is that we came out of that huge bear market, which, as you know as well, as we mentioned that. the Fukushima didn't help, because actually before that, it started to look very interesting. There were a lot of good things happening. Fukushima came, and then we had a 10-year bear market, completely wiping out every little ball that there were left. But back in 2018, we started to break some downtrends, and then of course we had the 2020 event, which then, in my view, kickstarted the entire commodity complex, but also uranium spot price. And actually, roughly around August, I started to look for entries in uranium. And as you know, I bought, I think, 80% of my entire portfolio back in late 2020. So lucky or whatever, I don't know, but it was one of my best calls ever. That was basically the uh, the big breakout point for uranium.
Are you still holding, or did you sell a part of
I,
it?
I, I have been selling a little bit, but it has gone into other stuff in uranium, for instance. So I still have the same amount, but I've been relocating um, stocks, and also one here again, just to show how great technical analysis can be. And this stock here is Energy Fuels,
Yep.
by far one of my biggest holdings.
Yep.
Again, technical analysis. These types of this is 10-year, but if you have this compression, in this case, you can see the angle comes down a little bit. So we have a huge bear market downtrend here, and then all of a sudden you see that change in direction, breaking out from that wedge patterns. That to me will always more or less be a moment to, hey, if you want to get into a stock, that's where you buy, right? And this was November 2020 in Energy Fuels, and I've been holding basically everything ever since. And we went from $2 to the highs over here at 12. So it went up 6x in basically no time.
Yep.
And then we had, of course, 4 years of pain, right? We had 4 years of basically going sideways. Well, not sideways, but from 12 down to basically 3. And then finally we're getting going again. So, um,
Yeah,
and
it's
by the
it's
way,
the only it's the only stock that I have in free ride. So I've
yeah,
sold at 100% profit my
oh, that's good.
50% of my stake. So
Yeah,
yeah, the 4 years weren't funny in this one, but I really didn't care.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was just again, it wasn't funny, and but to me, it was just I was very confident that it was just a matter of time, because you never know. But that was my view, based on other charts within the whole sector that we can maybe look at later on. But yeah, we just had again, July 2025. We had a huge bull flag breakout above roughly $7, which we also talked about on the Substack. That was when again you can add more, and now we're basically sitting at a almost 15-year horizontal resistance at $12. And anything above that, then you can see we start to actually target the Fukushima highs up here. So we could see this one go to 60. Um, and getting in at 2 and maybe selling at 60, that would be a huge win, right? That would be one for the books. So hopefully we get there. Again, we can only observe, like from every week to week, we observe, and are we still on track? If so, then we basically do nothing.
It's a game of patience.
Yeah, it is. It is.
No,
Yeah.
nobody has patience these days. Eh?
No, no, you want to
Everybody
make a
uses
hundred.
TikTok, and if I look at my kids, they are distracted just like after 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And but yeah, you have to wait 4 years here in energy fuels.
Yeah, exactly. You have to basically lose a lot of gains, but also time, right? Where
Yeah,
you so
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's very it's
yeah.
very stressful. So yeah, but that's also we've gotten to the patterns, right? This is roughly 15 years worth of wedge breakout. So you don't go from the wedge breakout to the target in 1 year. Again, it needs time to mature, and people will see profit, and so it will take time. So the pattern size here is very long, so it takes time to to get to the targets.
Yeah, yeah, good stuff. Um, Maybe gold or oil.
We could do oil just to stay in the energy field until we go to the. You can see this is oil, and I will probably do Heikenashe here
I,
because
I,
it's
I wished I had a lot of money in 2020.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I
that
didn't.
was
I bought a house, so I was
ah,
yeah practically broke. But I did see the charts, and I was yeah, it was frustrating to see what was going on and not having the money to step in. That was
yeah,
really hard.
yeah. It was again. I didn't. I own a few oil stocks, but not a lot. Again, just like you, I wish uh, I was able to pile in back then because
Yeah.
we had oil at zero, and everyone knows oil will not be zero for long. And well, actually, it was negative, but it was hugely depressed with the whole 2020 thing. And yeah, it ran up heavily, and the same thing can be seen here. Basically, you have this roughly, it's almost like a wedge, but you at least have this 20-year uh, bear market. Again, you had a huge macro bear market, and typically what you see if you have these 10-year patterns is that you see either three impulses to the downside or three to the upside, depending on the angle.
Yeah.
And the blow off top in that bear market to the downside was 2020 for oil. Rallied heavily all the way out, breaking out from the macro pattern, and then of course for the past 4 years hasn't been doing a whole lot, right? Basically just winding up here, and looking at any chart, this is always a bullish view until it's negated, right?
Hmm.
So again, we have, if I remove this stuff here just real quickly so you can see that, maybe we're going to go down to the weekly. So you can see that again here we have the similar kind of wedge that we like to look at, right? Just sitting on top of the support, which is really, again, primed for a breakout. My take is, do we get a big, like a flush before? So we get like, the third kind of capitulation and then we go?
Fall
Or do
through.
we simply just, yeah, or do we just go here? So I think, again, the oil bottom, you can say, of this consolidation period is soon to be over. Again, timing can be difficult, but again, there's not a whole lot of room left within this wedge here, and very rarely do you go all the way to the end of the wedge. You
Hmm.
break out before that. So
Yeah.
so and of course, if we see that on oil, we can go to the monthly again here. Again, oil, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, will be, in my view, way higher. Unfortunately, because this is the 100-year basically uptrend, right? So again, if we follow the path here, you can see that we are basically doing ping pong here,
Yeah.
right? And that was the 2020. So again, could it be? I'm not going to sit here and say because it sounds so insane, but again, we could see two, three, 400, within 10 years' time
Yeah, but
on oil.
it's not only oil going up, but your uh, currency going up also.
Exactly. Yes.
And
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think we reach those kind of numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, if yeah, yeah, and also I wouldn't be surprised in 5 years' time to see gold at 10K.
Yeah.
Right? That is just huge dilution of your money, right? So you're absolutely correct. It is a mix. It is, of course, some supply and demand structure, but it's also the paper that you buy with has basically no value, or at least cut in half, in 5 years' time,
Yeah.
due to the high inflation period that we are in. And unfortunately, we're, only uh, I wouldn't say halfway, but maybe 33% into that wave. So we have a lot more of crazy, fiat dilution in every country. Basically, it's not only the euro or the Danish kroner or the dollar.
Hmm.
It's everywhere that they're just diluting their money. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see oil, 5 years from now, 7 years from now, being in 200, $300.
Speaking of 10K gold,
Yeah. Speaking of good old gold here, there's a lot going on here, but we will remove some of it. Um, and again, I will actually urge also your followers to again, from a fundamental point of view, even though we do technicals, but to understand what gold is. That has really changed my way of thinking about the economy and how it works and what
yeah.
really is driving it. So I think gold is just again, really good example, or to learn how things in this world is working, how it's done.
Yep.
I think it's a really good way to do it. So I would definitely
Yeah,
um,
some people say, I think Andy from Finding Value also says this, that gold is the measuring stick.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Compare it to gold and you know where it is.
Exactly. Exactly. And as you mentioned, your fiat is changing. That measuring stick is getting,
Yeah.
is changing all the time,
Yeah.
whereas gold is somewhat, almost stable.
Yeah.
So 1 meter is 1 meter basically over time. Of course, you will have ups and downs, but overall, 1 meter is 1 meter, and gold is the best way to measure things in, no question. So yeah, again, this is again gold, and we have been really bullish on gold ever since the breakdown in April 2024, and the reasons were, again, if we do some charting here, again, this is, again, people can look these patterns up. They are seeing on multiple time frames. You can read on them, on Google. There's a lot of ways to look at it here, but this is just one of the most, textbook cup and hand you get. You also have silver. We can look at that in a minute, but
I just want to mention that there's a bigger one, but
yeah, there is a way bigger one. Which, by the way, silver, as I mentioned yesterday, I think silver is going to be the better play from here on. But
oh, I don't
that's
know. I'm gonna be okay. We're gonna talk about silver.
it's a bold
First on
statement.
gold. Yeah.
Yeah, but we have 15 years here of cup and handle, and we did get that handle break right there. April 2024, um, and we started the climb to I think I had my initial target just below 3K, but we overshot to 3,500. And for the past 6 months, we haven't been doing a whole lot until yesterday. But these patterns here, they are just telling me that again, if gold goes up this much, it means that inflation will be high. It means that your fiat will be diluted and everything will be more pricey. Again, just go to your local meat market or store. Prices are just way up there, right, over
Yeah.
the past few years. At least in Denmark, it's just
No, in Holland it's true also. My wife just went to the grocery store yesterday. She told me this was the total amount that I spent. Yeah, she is grounded now for 2 weeks. So
yeah. I might have to do the same. So.
yeah,
So yeah, we had the big breakdown in April 2024, and that is also when me personally, and that's also when the Substack started. By the way, started to buy heavily into different gold and silver stocks when the opportunity came, and we can have a look at some of them that we did. But as you can see here, these charts you can actually start to predict or tell where we might be going, right? So if we are going to go to the highs here, which again you have a 100% measured move, which again is also something technically you see very often, and then you add it to the upper part there, and you can actually see that this all this energy that is being built up over 15 years here, which got released there, is pointing to, you can see here actually 4,150 almost. That is the potential target we will get from this pattern alone, and then we can zoom in because we had a really big event here yesterday. Very interesting. You can see now we are going down in time frame down to basically 5 months. So before we had 15 years, now we have 5 months. So we're looking at 1/3 of that time frame, if my math is correct. So no, 30, excuse me, 30. And you can see here now we have a big breakout from that wedge, which we love to find and identify. And we can now see it's getting resolved to the upside from the wedge. And even though we could see, like last week, that we were starting to actually break some of the internal structures as well. So that was very promising for gold. So now gold has broken out here, and then we can start to do different measures as well. Uh, Again, we're looking at momentum and the amount of energy that is being put into that system. And then when it gets released, either way, we can use that to somehow predict where things could be going. And there are, again, this is the momentum from the low point, which that's roughly 3,700 and change. And then again, you can do it from the highest point as well, and or the splitter. It depends. But we will take the high point, and you can see it points to roughly 4,500, 4,050, which is a good alignment with the overall big measure that we did from 50 years ago, which pointed to 4,150. So it makes a lot of sense that we could actually see those targets get hit. And I would say in a fairly short period of time, as long as this holds true, right? Because we, as you know, we could have a move here and then have a false breakdown, and then that whole thesis gets nullified very
Yeah,
quickly. So
that
it's
was basically my question here. But so y- obviously it's a breakout. Um, are you stepping in heavily or waiting for the back test, or when are you sure? That's really my question here.
yeah, it's just it is. I think it's again you having looking at so many charts, you start to get the gut feeling that this is the breakout, and that you're gonna see that. That's also I like to look internally when you come to the end of the wedge. Do we see signs that we're gonna break out in the way that we want? And we started to see that in late August here a few days ago. And so yeah, it's basically again just having looking at so many charts, for the past few years, and yeah, so you just have an idea about where you're going, really.
Yeah,
So and
it
yesterday
becomes
was a confirmation.
it becomes some sort of instinct.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, gut feeling. Yeah, for sure, it does. Yeah, it really does. So, but yeah, remember.
Let's watch
Yeah,
silver. I want to talk about
ah,
silver. Yeah,
good old silver here.
well, silver.
Speaking of cup and handles, right, which you mentioned.
Yeah, but yeah, I've got a swing to the other screen here. One moment.
Okay,
So
sure.
you can see me too. Um, I've got an unpopular question about the cup and handle of silver. So
Yeah,
we're gonna look at it in a moment.
yeah.
Um, because it's spiked twice. Yeah, in the 80s
Hmm.
with the Hunt brothers cornering the silver market, and I think in 2011 with the silver squeeze. Those are, and this is my point. Those are not really natural things. You know, someone uh, skewed the market. Um, are the charts still valid because someone rigged the stuff? Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
in
It's,
yeah, I do.
I like if you look at nature, everything flows, and you can do calculations, mathematics, that kind of stuff. But if I look at the silver chart, I think yeah, okay, of course it's it's the mother of all cup and handles. I made videos about it, but
Yeah,
why is it a cup and handle? It's because some people did extraordinary stuff, and is it still yeah? Uh, does it count?
yeah. In my view, it will always count in my view. I
Yeah,
mean, because it is the chart that tells me that whole thing. But you are correct. Back 50 years ago, almost, we had the Hunt brothers, cornering that market quite heavily, and then you had 30 years later, you got to the same high again. Um,
you can share the screen again. It shows. No, it's okay.
no,
Now it's off.
I just switched it.
Yeah, yeah. I switched
Uh,
from the scenes. Yeah, this is good. Yeah,
can you see? Okay, good,
yeah,
good. So yeah, we basically got back to the same high, right?
yeah,
Roughly $50 there. So yes, there were definitely, you know, some sort of intervention kind of thing going on there. A lot of, but to me, it doesn't mean a whole lot. The only thing that maybe is in that category is what happened in 2020 with the shutdown.
yeah,
So the oil chart, for instance, again, I wouldn't say that spike to minus 37 is again something to. It's not valid to me per se.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I take this as the data that I'm getting represented, and that is my view. Um, because again, you had the very big overreaction to the upside, and then everything collapsed, meaning you also get a very deep bear market, way more deep than you would originally have gotten. So the reaction the other way is also amplified a lot more to the upside. So yeah, it is the max greed and max fear that you're getting on the chart. So, and that's also why if you see a stock go very parabolic and just every day, just going up and up and up for weeks and months,
yeah,
the reaction to the downside it's just detrimental.
yeah. That's why
Because
you have to get out sometime this morning.
yeah, you will never pick the top nor the bottom, but again, you will again as long as you try to follow your thesis,
Yeah,
you will do well. So yeah, it's and it is very difficult to sell
yeah.
when
But the price
everything is.
targets from this one, or what is, are $300 or what is it? It's insane.
It is actually quite insane, and we can even zoom out here because I think to remember that you have again this goes 200 years back,
Yeah.
I guess, right? So, and we same as the oil, right? You can see we have this very long upsloping channel, and this to me speaks that once we clear this here, then we are going to see fireworks, right? That is what this is telling me. And again, $50, excuse me, and above. If we do the absolute minimum target, and I would be disappointed, but again, and that is the price that we're getting from the top to the bottom, which let's say it's roughly 50. It's from 4 to 50, so roughly $50.
This will
So
be the
that
title of the video. Casper disappointed at
uh,
$300
no, 100,
soaring.
$100 over 100. No, 100 because that's the value or the price.
Yeah,
So that would be um, the price target here, but we are on a log scale. I
yeah,
think log scale is way better in
yeah,
almost any case. So again, all of a sudden you start to point to 3, 4, 500 and even 600 to the highs if you were to really get going here, and you can see the alignment from the trend line and the measured move. Again, I think the alignment is again it's not, again, you have to look at that and say
mhm,
again you have two big patterns that is pointing to roughly the same target. So it is a again, if I say this all the time, it's strange to sit here and say that we are now at 40 and we're going to be potentially in 5, 10 years time at 400.
yeah, yeah.
It's
And what will the world be like if gold is at 10K and silver is at 100 or 300?
yeah,
It's it
as
worries me sometimes, but hey,
yeah, and that is why I think it's very important, at least again, not to sound doom and gloom, but again, I think you have some time here to secure yourself before things are getting really,
yeah,
again, really bad when it comes to high prices
yeah,
or low valuation of your fiat. That
yeah,
again, it's
yeah.
but I think you have
Casper, nobody knows.
exactly.
We're just some guys on a YouTube and in our own echo chamber, but this nobody knows. Nobody talks about uranium too. I live in a town with 10,000 people. I think
Yeah,
I'm the only one, literally the only one. And I talk to other guys. They all think I'm stupid because I'm investing in uranium, but
yeah.
nobody knows. We are so early in this cycle. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is, and same for silver and gold, right? I
Yeah,
know maybe one guy, maybe a few more, but that's because I've mentioned it to them. Silver, but other than that, no one is
no,
talking about gold at almost 4K now, and what implications that has. And mining sector is outperforming the with the overall markets. No one is talking about that. It's so yeah. It seems
you
like
know.
we're ready.
I want to switch a little bit to some technical stuff. You
Yeah,
mentioned logarithmic, but I also see you using Heiken-Ashi, and you mentioned the tree hump down. And what are the real things you look for, and what techniques do you use? Because if you look at TradingView and you look at the indicators and the strategies, man, there's so much to choose from. Where do you start if you're a beginner?
yeah.
Give me some
Again,
tips.
it's a good question because back in the day, and I still have that filter on. Not right now, but back in the day, I had moving averages on.
Yeah.
I had Bollinger Bands on, which again off screen I actually used because it gave me some extra confirmation. But I would say put on a 200 daily moving average, 200 moving average. So and basically just as a beginner, because that is a good, you get a clear view straight away. Are we in a bull market or bear market or just neutral? And then try to keep as little amount of indicators to your chart as possible, because you're going to get mixed signals. I know there's RSI, which is heavily
Yeah.
used, which
Yeah.
I also use to, but I think RSI more often than not is used incorrectly because they're looking at the incorrect time frame. But that's a whole different rabbit hole to go into. Um, so I think that is misleading because again, at least from the patterns that we're looking at, you're getting oversold instantly, basically on that time frame. But it just means that if you go up two time frames, so if you're on the daily, You go up two time frames, that is your driver. That is
Yeah.
the one to look for on the RSI and not the daily. So
Mm.
you're selling too early, in my view, at least. So yes, you keep it as a minimum. So maybe a moving average, depending on your time frame, 200 could be, I think, is a good one. And then volume. Volume is also a good little extra, bias to have to see if you get a breakout. Do you get, 2, 3x the volume? Again, that's good. That means that people are involved into that breakout. Um, so yeah, try to keep it very simple, very very simple, and don't have price here and then you have 3 or 4 lanes with RSI and MACD, yeah, all these other stuff which I don't know the names of, but I think that is doing a lot more hurt than yeah, just keeping it simple.
And in the looking at the chart itself, um, falling wedges, fourth time breakout. That's one you mention all the time.
Yeah, 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 exactly. For
The
instance, right?
three hump downs. That's always interesting to me. And then I'm when I see a three hump down, then I'm hesitant to buy because the price is so low. I think I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna do it, and then it runs up.
yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, that is the
Too
again,
damn too late. Yeah.
yeah, it's again, it's I see these patterns here. For instance, this is EAE, also a stock that again that looked really good and still does, by the way. I see these as systems, and then you try to identify the overall system, and then you can find internal systems, along the way, which the exact same setups. And typically, these three humps, which you mentioned, and we also have them here, by the way, you can see we have, and then we break on the fourth, as we often see. Uh, that comes from what I've read. Again, it comes down to human psychology. These three humps, meaning if you're in a stock, for instance, and you're getting hit in the head the first time, and you bounce back, okay, I lost a little bit, and then the second time, oh, that hurt, and then the third time, most people, that's it, I'm out, and then that's typically when things are going to go up again because people are saying that I can't handle it anymore, and then you go, and then you reverse, right? So that is typically so.
I've got a similar example. Maybe you can put it up. That's aftermath.
Oh yeah,
You
AAG.
can
Yeah.
make fun of me now.
There it is.
Yeah. So aftermath. I was looking at aftermath. So it ran up in 2021 to 1.8, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And then I was looking at it the whole time, and it went down to 15 cents. 15 cents.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You have
Right
to
here. Yeah,
zoom in here if you want to.
yeah. I can do that.
Yeah.
It's right here. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
15. Yeah,
And um, it got to 15 cents almost twice. So
yeah,
it bounced off at 15 cents. It ran up. I didn't buy. And then I said to myself, yeah, okay. When it reaches 15 cents again, I'm gonna buy. I'm gonna step all in because I think it's gonna run up to 1.8 again. Yeah.
hmm.
So I wasn't really wrong, but it got to 16.5 cents,
Yeah.
and I didn't
Oh,
buy.
yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
then it went up to I don't know 90 cents and I think yeah well I'm gonna wait until it comes down again to 50 cents. It never is gonna come down to 50 cents again.
yeah,
I'm stupid. I should have just bought it low and let it run.
yeah, yeah. And
This is
that's
one of
also
my biggest mistakes, and also LEU. That's
yeah.
completely terrible. LEU.
I would say LEU is also a very difficult job to get correct. It is insanely difficult. But
I
yeah.
heard I heard someone talking on YouTube and on Twitter about LEU. That's it. His name is Derek Quick. I don't know if you know him.
Oh, yeah. I think
He,
so.
he
I
was
think so.
speaking about LEU at $4.
Yeah, that's over here. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
he did a lot of YouTube uranium like
he
a,
did.
a
He,
few
yeah,
years
he did
ago,
a
right?
complete analysis, and he said
Yeah.
you have to get in because LEU is gonna rocket. And I didn't have the money, but because it was also 2020. Yeah, I just bought a house and I didn't have the money, but I wanted to, but I yeah didn't have the cash.
Yeah.
And now it's at what 200
200.
something.
Yeah, yeah, completely bonkers. Yeah. And
Ah,
yeah, it's yeah,
sometimes it's frustrating these things, but
it
hey, what
is.
can you
It
do?
is.
It's
Yeah, this is actually one again. We $50. Yeah, we back in the day.
yep.
September. This one here, and now we are, yeah, at roughly 200, which is again 4x. Quite impressive. but we also went down, as you know, 60%. So we basically ran 120%, and then we gave it all back before we. So it's so hard to uh, to invest.
You have to be pretty convinced
Yeah.
in your choices and your strategy to hold on and ride it all the way because phew, yeah. But it's like Andy says from finding value. I think it's the only way um, to do it because you go completely crazy if you sell all the time and get in all the
Mm.
time. Of course, at the wrong times, and you
Yeah,
will
yeah,
lose money.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Again, the same thing applies here. Again, if the pattern holds true, again, you're good, right?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
so yeah, don't sell until you see something really bad happening in that chart that you're looking at. So yeah.
Do you have any other charts you want to share? I may have one or two uh,
I
questions.
think I think we can do one here again. Just
Oh,
again,
yes, yeah.
RDS, yeah. Again, this technique, and it's one thing that I would like again, if your listeners or viewers are into technical analysis, is to identify if you can find like a 1 to 3 year wedge, right? Again, it takes a lot of practice to identify them, and there's a lot more things to it. But if you can find these, right here, this is 2022, 2024. That's 2 years. If you can identify these and work at that, as your base, and then of course there's more to it. I think you're off to a really, really good start. Yeah, that's a really good time frame because you can buy and you can actually hold it for multiple years without. Most of the times you don't have to do anything. So these wedge patterns, they are very powerful for reasons. Again, there's a whole lot of things to it with regard to momentum being at zero at that point in time. Then when you break out, the direction that it picks the first time is typically correct.
Yeah.
You're getting very little false breakouts after such a compression. And if you do, let's say we break here and we're happy, but you turn this way, then you know exactly, okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
It's basically, ones and zeros when you have these patterns. So
Yeah.
that is a really,
That's one of the things. Sorry to interrupt, but
uh,
that's one of the things I learned a lot from you. Is that set your limit order in.
mhm.
Yeah. Just don't wait for the breakout because I had a stock yesterday that went up 25%. Um, yeah, if you don't set your limit order in, you're too late.
Yeah, yeah, you can
Then you
be
have to
too
wait
late.
for the back test, and it doesn't come, and yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah,
And
especially in these stocks here where they move
yeah,
all the time, 20%, right? Or
yeah,
so.
yeah.
So then
And
you're late. But
and
yeah,
then when
set
you
your, yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
then when your limit order hits, set the stop loss.
Exactly. Yeah, you can do
Always
that.
set the
Meanwhile,
stop
you can
loss.
do that at the same time. But yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's a good point. Limit orders is always, again, you need a reason to get into the market. And if you have identified, in this case, it would have been roughly, let's call it 20 cents, just to be even number. Okay, 20 cents, I want to get in. So you set your limit order and then you wait, you do basically wait and see what happens. And if you get in, you set your stop loss below, your formation, and then you're good to go. So you don't have to sit every day, now I want to buy, or yeah. So limit orders is, but I do market orders as well sometimes if I can't help myself. So don't get me wrong, I'm a human as well. So
We
so
are all human,
yeah, yeah.
Casper. So, want to do another one, or is it?
I think if you have some, we could.
Yeah,
Any questions?
let's do DDXJ because I think it broke out, and then Largo, and then
Okay, yeah, GDXJ. Actually, again, I want to. This goes back to our earlier talk. Again, this is April 2024,
yeah, okay,
right? And in theory, we could remove it all here just to keep it very simple. And we, again, as I also say very often, a chart that has very little trend lines and you know exactly what's up, that's the best, right? So in this case, again, we can just place one trend line in theory, and that was April 2024. We started to break out, do a whole lot of back testing, and the rest is basically history. So again, back to the question with regarding to indicators. Again, also when trend lines, just use as little as possible because you're getting a lot of mixed signals. So yeah, that was a very, very big breakout which we had, here in April 2024. Um, and you are correct. We're getting some. Are we getting some breakouts on the upper end of that one? Are we not there yet? but we are definitely again breaking out from the highs from 2020,
Yeah.
which happened in June. So overall, really healthy, very very strong bull market when it comes to to gold miners.
Yeah, and the gold miners always lag the gold price, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So the gold price has done very well, and now especially the large gold miners are printing cash.
yeah, they are. They
Dividends,
are.
buybacks, share buybacks. So yeah, you're in the in the right place there.
Yeah, and you're correct. You know, gold broke out like a year or two ago, and gold miners didn't do a whole lot until recently, right? Compared to gold. But again, as you know, here back in July, we had a massive breakout in the major gold miners compared to gold. So even though gold will do well, in my view, you can see here based on that, 20-year breakout, that hey, the miners is going to do way better.
Yeah, the runway here. I mean,
Yeah, it's again, you have the same wedge here again. Yes, again, this is a good example, right? We have the same wedge. This is again 2020, so that data I'm not taking into account.
mhm.
I'm taking these two instead.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but again, we have this 10-year wedge coming up here with a very big downtrend break, right? So we're going to go to here, and then you know what happens. Most likely, we're going to do that. Again, that's my base case always. So
yeah,
again, you are very early when it comes to gold miners,
yeah.
and yes, they are printing so much money. So yeah, I completely agree. Early, that's why it's so exciting, right?
Great to see. Yeah. Let's do Largo.
Largo in
Yeah,
this one here, right? Yeah, I think I have
it's
something.
not a good company, but I'm looking at this chart almost every week.
Yeah, yeah,
And
it's
this is a three hump down, and are we
yeah,
finished? Is it going up? Is it time to buy? I have a little position, but whoa, this one also, it goes up 3x, goes down 90%, goes up
yeah,
100 or 1000%. It's just all over the place. But if you time it right, you can hit a home run, I think,
yeah. You can,
or
you
lose all
can.
your money. But hey, it's
That's why we have the stop loss, right?
yeah,
That's
that's
why
why you
we
have stop
yeah,
loss.
yeah. And hopefully sometimes you can set it extremely tight.
Yeah,
But you are true, right? You have again, this is the first low point, the second high, and then you have the second and third impulse, as you mentioned. So you're absolutely correct. And typically, when you have that third lower low, typically again, sometimes you get a huge dump on a fourth, but typically that is where you want to look for longs. And you can see we are in a heavy downtrend. So yeah, very nasty. But we have some internal stuff going on as well here, where we had a trend line breakage here. I make it thick. Maybe we do this instead. I'm gonna make it really thick. So you can see we're actually breaking out, and we have been just hammering onto that uh, upper end of that channel. And then you can also connect here. So we have three touches now. I would expect once we break here, and for sure when we take out that high. So I will say anything north of, well, close to $2 on Largo,
yeah,
we should be looking for a lot more upside compared to downside. So very close to $2, and then this one is finally ready to go,
yeah.
even though it has underperformed massively compared to other stuff.
Yeah.
That's one
It's
thing to take into account.
yeah, well, it's not a gold company. It's a vanadium company. So
Oh,
and the
okay.
vanadium price is also way down. So it's
Yeah, that makes a case then. That
it
that
makes the
makes
case. Yes,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
it's
true.
exciting stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
All
So
right.
yeah, roughly $2. Yeah, should be a good starting point for Lago.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. That was exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Are you? Do you have anything else to show us, or did you say do we
I,
really have to look at this, or
I think we can end this interview with just looking at CDE, which I think is a very good barometer for the entire gold space. Right, look at that. Again, we have the same
I
wedge
made a
which we
video
look.
about CD?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you have the same wedge again, which we just looked at on other charts as well. Right, this is 15 years, and we're starting to break down trends. We're starting to break wedge patterns, which means you're getting momentum.
Yeah.
Really excited again, gold and silver, and uranium, of course, also really exciting on uranium.
This
They
is
go
my
hand in hand. So
Yeah, this is my favorite gold and silver stock. But
yeah,
just can you touch the news button on the yeah, that
um,
one. Yeah, Yeah. So it's a breakout, also with great news releases.
Okay.
It's all at the
Okay.
same time. So
Yeah.
you have the chart, but you have also the fundamentals in the company news. So it's yeah, you it's just famous last words, but you can't go wrong here.
No, I mean, it's again, this is a 30-year breakout. So again, you have many years ahead until you reach a place where, should I take some profit or should I get out or whatever? You have a long way to go. So
Thank you, Casper.
yeah,
I had a great time. Two things. Where can people find you online?
yeah. Thank you for mentioning that on Twitter, as always, or X, as the kids say. That's where I started it all, and then like 18 months ago, I did the Substack, which, as you also mentioned, you're a part of, where we try to do our best and get the best entries that we can get, and hopefully we are correct. If not, we also have a pretty good idea about when to get out. So we're trying to maximize this gold and silver and uranium, platinum as well. We should have looked at platinum, but again, that's maybe for a different video. This commodity bull market. There's a whole lot of things to be made, and we're just trying to maximize the best way we can, and hopefully we do it correctly, right? So
Good stuff. And I'll put a link in the show notes, of course, so that people can go to the Substack and please subscribe. It's fun. It's a lot of education. It makes you money. So hey, no brainer. Last thing before we stop the interview. Quiz question.
yeah,
Quiz question.
yeah.
Because your username is Uselink.
Oh yeah,
And I know a guy who figured out what Uselink, where the name came from.
yeah, yeah.
He's very smart, very handsome.
Yeah, I remember. I remember now. I know
Here,
where this is going. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So, and this is not for the Substack members because maybe they know, so they're excluded from this quiz. But if you can figure out where Uselink stands for, put it in the comments. The first one, which is right, will receive a big cake from me. I will send it to your home. Not a small one, but a big one.
yeah.
So, yeah. Where did the name Uselink come from? Put it in the comments. I'm eager to know if someone.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. Again, it's a very boring answer, but yeah,
No. It's really not a boring answer.
oh, it is
But
okay.
that's a topic for a whole new video. But it's
Yeah, it is.
mainly
True, true,
about
true.
technical analysis. Yeah. Okay, Casper, thank you very much, and yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye.